Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to Sun and Grace and Sass. My name is Breezy. I am your host. And today, you're probably wondering, what the hell do I mean when I say, what's your note to self? Well, what I mean by that is, there is a song by Alana Springsteen. But before I get into all that, you know what to do. Hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Please subscribe, help a girl out. Just saying, it would be nice. Today we are going to be talking about what's our note to self. And what I mean by this, as I was saying, there is a song by Alana Springsteen. And this song, is basically a radical truth telling song that gives you an exercise of moving past the polished narratives of our earlier lives. Okay? And in this song, she talks about like parental tension, protection of siblings, and the cost of staying quiet. Now, we all know as someone who's lived through something like this, it takes a toll on you. But there's also a reclaiming ourselves at the same time. For example, the parental tension. The lyrics visibly describe a young child navigating conflict at home, acting as a peacekeeper, and feeling an emotional responsibility far beyond her years. Also, um, is the protection of her siblings. She touches on the Pacific burden of trying to protect the younger brothers from the environment they were in. Then there's the cost of staying quiet. We've all been there. Some of us probably don't want to admit it, but we all have. And I imagine there was a lot of therapy going into this, but it highlights that she has learned to suppress her own needs to maintain peace, which is a common coping mechanism of children in chaotic homes. Yeah. Trust me, most of us grow up to be people pleasers, and eventually I want to say grow out of it, but we never fully grow out of it. We just learn to suppress it most of the time. I know what you're thinking. I've done lost my mind when I say that, but if I'm losing my mind, might as well do it the good way, right? Um, on a side note, why do I keep losing so much hair? Anyway, um, yeah. But there is also reclaiming herself, and especially in this chorus that pivots to the pain of the past and the promise of self-compassion. It is essentially an apology and a vow to our adult self, to our younger self. And it goes, the girl who once felt isolated no longer facing the world without support. Here's the thing. I resonate so deeply with this song. I really do. But to know, basically, Alana stated that has shared many times that she sat down with her guitar after a therapy session and she initially felt numb and was unable to find words. Then this song eventually poured out as a way to reparent herself by filming a music video in her hometown of Congo, Virginia. She physically revisited the places with those memories and had to reclaim them. I feel that honestly. I really do. But also, it's so relatable. As a child who grew up in a very unstable, traumatic household, yeah, I know. But I think you just find certain songs and you just resonate with them. I say that all the time if you ever hear me mention a song on this podcast. But yeah, I just, I don't know. I know it sounds crazy to say, but we all have a note to self. And do you want to know why it probably resonates? Well, the song is a musical version of a therapeutic exercise. Um, and it also acknowledges that we also acknowledges that healing isn't a destination, whereas the death or the pain disappears, but contagious acts of courage happens. And we all gotta begin to heal at some point, guys. Look, I know, like, you can't, I'm a firm believer that you are not a product that you cannot control the environment you're born into, but you can control if you choose to stay in that life. And Alana goes on to say that I honor the child who endured more than a child should have while celebrating a woman who learned to carry that history with compassion. Now, we all eventually become the adult we needed growing up. I know I had to. But I want to do the lyrics of the song real quick. And basically it goes, you started life as double lines that nobody planned for. I know that's for sure. My bio mom didn't plan for me. I was the shortest surprise. She just thought she was gaining weight. Keep in mind, she already had my oldest sister, cheating POS husband, so what more do you expect, right? Wiped away all your mother's tears growing up too fast. Yep. And all along you played a role you never asked for. Yep. Filling everybody's fears. What choice did you have? Yep. And goes on, and basically your parents were fighting, your younger brothers were crying, and you were soldiering, hiding in your bedroom and trying to keep it locked up inside. Um just and you just ignored all the sirens. If I could go back in time, I'd try to write it all out. I do say journaling does really help. It's one thing I've learned, so there you go. But in the chorus it goes, note to self, I know you had to get us through some hell. You couldn't put a name to what you felt, 'cause you never hurt like that before. But you ain't alone anymore. I got you now. And then verse 2, it basically goes, losing love and all your friends, a little bit of your innocence. No one asked you anything and just made you feel guilty. So you tried to keep it between the lines in the backseat of your life. Couldn't control anything um but the size of your jeans, even the praying and the preaching, and it just didn't fight the demons off. Then the pre-chorus goes, you were silently screaming, somebody listen to me, and you didn't know what you needed. You wouldn't show any weakness. If there was a way you could read it, girl, I tell you now. And goes on to repeat the chorus. Note to self, you had to get us through some hell. Couldn't put a name to what you felt, 'cause you never hurt like that before, and you ain't alone anymore. And I grew up in a generation where you really didn't talk about your feelings. Like, if you cried, they just assumed you were being sensitive at the end of the day. But also, damn, that hurts though. Like, I also like had a sister who was knowingly in therapy, and she got made fun of because it was a mental health facility and she had some problems I am not going into detail with. But still though, if you talked about stuff like that, you were considered weird. And I'm glad we live in a world now where it's not a stigma. Thank you for that. But also, let's go on to talk about verse 3 real quick. Um all of the screams that you just stayed in your head, all of the questions that scared you to death. It was a prison. You got us out, but you can let go, girl. You can break down because I got you now. Let me say, yeah, I got you now. And a lot of us growing up as a kid, we just needed someone to have us. And here's the outro to this song. Note to self, just know it's okay to ask for help. You don't gotta be afraid, cause I can tell you. Life and people will let you down. But where I'm standing here and now, it all works out. So, yeah, I can say thank you, Alana, for the song. I think we all really needed it. And for those of you that haven't heard it, please go and listen to it. Please. Um, but yeah. Why did you do this to me? I was watching you. Go back. Sorry. Criminal Minds just turned off in the background, and I had it on silent this whole time. Not cool, by the way. I like watching me Derek Morgan and Dr. Smithery. I only watch Criminal Minds with a plot. I'm a girl, sue me. But what is a note to self? Well, this is a note to self is basically a short informal written as a reminder a piece of advice you want to place for your future self. Um, it could be a psychological or organizational tool used to capture a thought, task, or realization before you forget. Traditionally, the notes focus on external information like a grocery list, but what about the personal and the internal ones that we don't really talk about? Um, as a mental note, um, this can be a common purpose for us. For a lot of people, it's logical, um, logistical, honestly. And this is like a reminder for ourselves to do a specific task, behavioral and reflective. Now, there is something like called a mental note and a written note. And that mental note is intangible and is a promise to remember something notoriously unreliable due to forgetting curve. The written additional is a physical anchor as well. Um, but yeah. But I've literally, and I even wrote down some things that I have for my personal note to self. You don't have to be perfect all the time. Damn, I try so hard to be too, and that's the problem. My people pleasing skill and being a perfectionist, really? Yeah. You don't have to have it all together. Try telling my try telling my younger self that one. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. When you try so hard to have it all together for everyone that you forget to take care of yourself. Self-care is important. You've got to remember that. Go to therapy, take 5 minutes, do whatever you need to just to recompose yourself. Let go of the past. I know that's easier said than done, but trust me, letting go of the past will help you so much. Your future children will know what unconditional love is. I grew up in a household where I was taught conditional love. And as much as I want to pretend that was okay, it wasn't. No child should have to know conditional love. Unconditional love. At the end of the day. I want my future children to know, hey, I'm your ride or die. You do something stupid, we'll talk about it. I'm not gonna hate you for it. I might be disappointed in you for doing something stupid, depending on where it is. But here we are. But they will never know what conditional love is. Unconditional love all the way here. It's okay to rest and take a break. I know we get so hyper focused and fixated on trying to do everything at one point, we forget to breathe. And we need to rest and take care of ourselves. Hashtag self care. Um, it's okay not to be okay. Go get therapy, go get the help you need. Darkness will creep into your mind. Look, someone who struggles with depression and anxiety and all of that, you're gonna have dark days. But just know there's always a light. You just get a light that's ready to be turned on whenever you're ready for it. And it can find you when you're not looking. And you'll know. That brings me to there's always a light. And it's something I just want to tell you guys. I hope you heal from the things you don't talk about. You don't have to be that past version of yourself. You can continue to grow and become a better person at the end of the day. But thanks for joining me on this episode. I'll see y'all next time as we talk about being a black sheep and why it's okay.